A tiny house might have a small footprint, but its design potential knows no bounds. With innovative architecture and high-end materials, these spaces challenge the idea that luxury requires scale. Instead, it's about smart design, purposeful layout, and a lifestyle shift that celebrates intentional living. Once born out of necessity, tiny homes have evolved into desirable lifestyle choices. As urbanization, climate awareness, and minimalism rise, so does the popularity of tiny living. But this isn't roughing it. Luxury tiny homes offer style, comfort, and the amenities of traditional homes, just reimagined. Luxury tiny houses embody the belief that design is not about abundance but intention. Clean lines, natural light, and open concepts take center stage. These aren't sheds with a sink, they're architectural marvels where form meets function and every choice is deliberate. Just because a home is small doesn't mean it lacks polish. From quartz countertops and hardwood floors to brushed brass fixtures and custom cabinetry, upscale finishes are essential to luxury tiny living. Quality over quantity is the mantra, with no detail overlooked. Luxury in a tiny house often comes from how cleverly it hides the necessary. Think understair drawers, platform beds with hidden compartments, and built-in bookshelves that double as room dividers. It's design wizardry, sleek, seamless, and supremely useful. Every item in a luxury tiny home pulls double duty. Sofas become guest beds, dining tables transform into workstations, and benches conceal storage. This is living at its most resourceful and chic. Custom-designed furniture becomes both decor and essential utility. Luxury tiny homes master the art of feeling bigger than they are. Strategic use of mirrors, light color palettes, large windows, and high ceilings creates a sense of airiness. It's all about creating visual flow and maximizing psychological comfort. The kitchen is no afterthought. Think induction cooktops, built-in wine coolers, concealed appliances, and sleek cabinetry. A luxury tiny kitchen balances aesthetics with performance, proving that you don't need a sprawling space to cook like a chef. Bathrooms in tiny homes go beyond functional, they're indulgent. Rainfall showers, heated floors, backlit mirrors, and floating vanities elevate the everyday. These spaces are designed for pampering, ensuring comfort doesn't get lost in compression. Luxury tiny homes often blur the line between indoors and out. Folding glass doors, retractable walls, and wraparound decks expand living areas into the landscape. Nature becomes part of the home, offering peace, light, and visual expansion. Tech integration is key. From voice-controlled lighting and climate systems to automated blinds and app-connected security, luxury tiny homes are as high-tech as their larger counterparts, often more so. It's sophistication in sync with simplicity. Sustainability is no longer optional, it's luxurious. Solar panels, composting toilets, reclaimed materials, and energy-efficient appliances are hallmarks of tiny house design. These homes are environmentally sound and visually stunning, combining conscience with comfort. Every luxury tiny home tells a unique story. Whether inspired by Scandinavian minimalism, industrial chic, or coastal calm, customization lets owners bring personality into every corner. With fewer square feet, each one counts, and each one shines. Luxury tiny homes master the art of zoning. Visual cues like rugs, lighting, and built-ins subtly define areas for living, sleeping, and dining. This helps establish a flow and avoids the dreaded studio feel. Sleeping spaces range from sunken beds to mezzanine lofts with skylights. These areas are cozy sanctuaries, engineered for rest, privacy, and indulgence. Memory foam mattresses, ambient lighting, and whisper-quiet ventilation make them the epitome of compact luxury. Many luxury tiny homes are mobile, offering freedom without compromise. Built on trailers, they feature all the luxuries of a fixed structure while allowing owners to take their sanctuary on the road, a designer home with a view that changes daily. Large windows, skylights, and glass doors flood the space with light. This reduces the need for artificial lighting and creates a sense of openness. The interplay of natural light and clean design is what sets luxury tiny homes apart. The outer shell matters as much as the interior. From cedar cladding and steel siding to green roofs and modern silhouettes, the exteriors of luxury tiny homes are as architecturally impressive as any high-end residence. Art and decor are used strategically, statement pieces, textured walls, or a pop of color. The limited space makes every piece more impactful, ensuring the personality of the homeowner shines through without clutter. Luxury tiny homes aren't disposable. They're built with top-tier craftsmanship and materials meant to stand the test of time. Durability, low maintenance, and structural integrity ensure long-term value without sacrificing style. Living in a tiny home requires editing, not sacrificing. It encourages owners to keep what matters, let go of the rest, and appreciate design that supports clarity, purpose, and well-being. It's a luxury mindset, not just a housing choice. Some upscale developments feature entire neighborhoods of luxury tiny homes with shared amenities, gardens, pools, lounges. It's about building community without crowding, with individual elegance preserved within a shared vision. Luxury tiny homes are increasingly seen as smart investments. Whether used as vacation rentals, guest houses, or secondary dwellings, they offer flexibility and strong ROI. Their aesthetic appeal makes them stand out in any market. Many tiny homes embrace off-grid living with high design. Solar energy, water catchment systems, and satellite internet make independence possible. You're not cutting back, you're cutting loose, with all the comforts intact. Luxury tiny living is a conscious choice to live with less and experience more. Downsizing doesn't mean deprivation, it's a chance to be selective, to prioritize quality, and to eliminate what doesn't serve a beautiful, functional life. Because every piece of a luxury tiny home is intentional, it fosters deep emotional connection. These homes are cozy, personal, and filled with soul. Every inch feels meaningful, making the home more than just a place, it's an experience. Tiny luxury homes are not a passing trend, they're a glimpse into the future. As urban spaces shrink and sustainability becomes imperative, these homes point the way forward: stylish, efficient, eco-conscious living with zero compromise on comfort. Luxury tiny living has gained traction among celebrities, architects, and designers who see it as a new frontier. With high-profile endorsements and architectural innovation, the movement is proving its staying power in both culture and commerce. Luxury is often associated with extravagance, but true elegance lies in simplicity. A luxury tiny house strips away the unnecessary, leaving space for what truly matters: peace, beauty, and intentional living. It's design distilled to its purest form. Luxury tiny homes prove that living well isn't about living large. It's about design that inspires, space that serves, and a home that reflects values. In these compact masterpieces, we find a future where elegance is measured not in square feet, but in purpose, beauty, and soul. Welcome to the art of living luxuriously small.